Not really. It was just sort of a fluke. We were living in a little town near San Francisco, and a film company came on location.
She was the little girl with the big, sad eyes. The child who charmed Hollywood before she could even spell the word, born Natalia Nikolaevna Zakharenko. In 1938, to Russian immigrant parents, Natalie Wood never had a childhood. Not really. Her mother, Maria, believed her daughter was born for the screen, and she pushed her into film sets before she was even 6. Natalie smiled for the cameras, obeyed the directors, and gave the world what it wanted. But behind those soft smiles was a child terrified of the dark, of being alone, and of deep water. That fear would chase her all her life. By the time she turned 16, Natalie had already starred in more than 20 films. She wasn't a girl anymore. Hollywood had turned her into a woman overnight. Her breakout role in Rebel Without a Cause, opposite James Dean, made her a teenage icon. But while the world saw a rising star, Natalie struggled to understand her own reflection. She longed for love, the kind that didn't come with contracts or cameras.
Did you feel that?
Yes, I did. I think it's one of the difficulties of making a film of this nature.
And that's when she met Robert Wagner. The studio loved the pairing, America's sweethearts. They married in 1957 when she was just 19, but fairy tales fade. They divorced 5 years later. Natalie said he didn't understand her, and maybe she didn't understand herself. After failed romances and a suicide attempt in 1966, she disappeared for a while. But she came back, stronger, softer. In 1972, she did something surprising. She remarried Robert Wagner, the man she once ran from. She said, "He's the love of my life, and now he's grown too." Together, they raised her daughter and tried to build a quieter life, far from the cameras. But fame doesn't knock quietly. It was Thanksgiving weekend, 1981. Natalie, Robert Wagner, her Brainstorm co-star Christopher Walken, and the yacht captain Dennis Davern boarded their boat. Splendor docked near Santa Catalina Island. That evening, they had dinner on shore, drank wine, laughed, maybe too much. Witnesses say there was tension between Robert and Christopher. Natalie was caught in the middle, literally and emotionally. Later that night, they returned to the yacht. The ocean was calm. The air smelled of salt and spilled champagne. And then at 1:15 a.m., Natalie was gone. The questions came quickly, and they never stopped. Why did no one hear her scream? Why was the dinghy missing from the boat? Why was her body found floating a mile away, wearing only a flannel nightgown, socks, and a red down jacket? She had bruises on her arms and face, a scratch on her cheek. The coroner called it accidental drowning, but Natalie Wood had always been afraid of water. She never swam, never took baths. Friends say she was terrified of dark oceans. She would have never climbed into that dinghy alone.
Well, I know what you were talking about because I saw you on the monitor, and I think that's true.
In 2011, the case was reopened. The captain, Dennis Davern, said he lied during the first investigation. He claimed Wagner was furious with Walken that night, that he heard yelling, a fight, silence, then nothing. In 2012, the cause of death was changed to drowning and other undetermined factors. Robert Wagner was officially named a person of interest, but no charges were ever filed. To this day, he denies everything. He says nobody knows, not even me, but I loved her more than anything. Natalie's daughter Natasha once said, "I grew up with this question in my heart. Not just how she died, but how she lived. And how did she live? With fear, with fire, with a fragile grace. She lived for the screen, but died in shadows." Some say her final hours mirrored a film she once starred in, Brainstorm, where a character drowns mysteriously. Art imitating life, or life foreshadowing death. Maybe we'll never know the truth. Maybe she slipped. Maybe she jumped. Maybe Someone let her fall. But we do know this. Natalie Wood was more than a tragedy. She was a dream in black and white. A voice that never fully broke.
Not really, it was just sort of a fluke. We were living in a little town.
A child star, a broken woman, a Hollywood mystery wrapped in satin and silence. And tonight, when you look at the ocean, don't just see water. See a story that still hasn't ended.